As men get older, especially after the age of 50, testosterone levels naturally begin to decline. And while that's a normal part of aging, the foods you choose every single day can make a huge difference in how sharp your mind feels, how much energy you have, and even your performance in the bedroom. One of the simplest yet most powerful levers you can pull is fruit. Yes, fruit. Some fruits contain nutrients that help support your body's natural testosterone production, while others actually do the opposite and work against you, lowering your levels without you even realizing it. Today, I'm going to break down 4 fruits that can supercharge your testosterone and 4 that can silently sabotage it. By the end, you'll know exactly what to add to your grocery list and what to avoid if you want to stay strong, energetic, and vital well into your 50s and beyond. As men cross the milestone of 50, something subtle yet powerful begins to unfold within the body. Energy feels different, recovery slows down, focus isn't as sharp, and motivation sometimes like it slips through the cracks. While it's easy to blame age, the root often lies deeper in the body's own hormone production. Testosterone, often referred to as the fuel for vitality, muscle strength, and confidence, naturally begins to decline with each passing year after middle age. This drop isn't sudden, but it is steady, and the effects can touch nearly every part of life. It may start with noticing less energy in the morning, less drive for physical activity, slower recovery after exercise, or even subtle changes in mood. The truth is, testosterone isn't just about masculinity or sexual health. It's the silent regulator behind muscle tone, bone density, mental clarity, and even metabolic function. The body, as it ages, doesn't simply shut down testosterone production. It adjusts. The natural pathways that once worked efficiently begin to lose their spark. The Leydig cells in the tests responsible for producing this vital hormone don't respond to signals from the brain as strongly as they once did. The hypothalamus and pituitary, which direct this orchestra, also become less effective at keeping the rhythm steady. Add to that decades of accumulated lifestyle choices, stress, poor diet, lack of sleep, and suddenly testosterone isn't just lower because of age, but because the environment inside the body no longer supports its creation. This is why 2 men at the same age can have completely different experiences. One still vibrant, active, and sharp, while the other feels drained, sluggish, and unmotivated. Understanding why testosterone drops after 50 is about looking at the bigger picture. Beyond the biological shift, external factors play an equally strong role. Carrying excess belly fat, for example, creates more aromatase, an enzyme that converts testosterone into estrogen, further lowering levels. Chronic stress keeps cortisol elevated, and cortisol competes with testosterone, pushing it down. Poor sleep robs the body of its natural repair window, especially during deep sleep cycles when hormones like testosterone are replenished. Diet too cannot be ignored. Years of consuming processed foods, sugar-laden drinks, or alcohol can take a toll on how well the body maintains hormone balance. These interconnected forces create a perfect storm, and by the time a man reaches his 50s, the symptoms become hard to ignore. But here is the important part. This decline isn't destiny. While it's true that age influences hormone production, lifestyle choices, especially nutrition, can make a profound difference. Studies show that men who prioritize whole, nutrient-rich foods often maintain stronger hormone levels than those who rely heavily on processed, high-sugar diets. The body is remarkably adaptive, and even later in life, it responds positively to the right fuel. This is where fruit, often underestimated, comes into the picture. Far from being just a sweet snack, certain fruits carry compounds that directly influence hormone health, providing antioxidants that fight oxidative stress, vitamins that support enzyme function, and minerals that act as cofactors in testosterone synthesis. At the same time, Some fruits can push the body in the opposite direction, interfering with hormone balance in ways that are easy to overlook. When you begin to connect the dots, the picture becomes clear. Testosterone decline after 50 is not just an unavoidable slide downward. It's the result of biological aging combined with years of daily choices. Every piece of food, every night of rest, every bout of stress either supports or sabotages the body's ability to hold on to its vitality. What makes this so powerful is the realization that change is possible even now. By addressing the root causes, cellular slowdown, fat accumulation, stress, poor diet, you can slow the decline and in many cases restore levels to a range that supports energy, strength, and clarity. Think of testosterone like a flame. In youth, it burns brightly, almost effortlessly, fueled by the body's natural rhythm. As years pass, the flame doesn't extinguish. It simply dims. The question becomes, what are you feeding the fire? Are you smothering it with habits that deplete energy, or are you giving it oxygen with choices that strengthen the body from within? Men who continue to feel vibrant after 50 aren't relying on luck. They're actively making choices that protect their hormone balance. The foods they eat, the way they manage stress, and the consistency of their sleep patterns all serve as fuel for that fire. So, when considering why testosterone drops after 50, it's about seeing beyond the number itself. It's about understanding the story the body is telling. A story of decades of use, adaptation, and sometimes neglect. A story where hormones reflect not just age, but lifestyle. And within that story lies the opportunity to change the ending by becoming aware of what drives testosterone down and what can help bring it back up. You gain the ability to influence the outcome. You realize that while you can't stop the clock, you can control how your body responds to time. And that is the key to staying strong, sharp, and energized long after the world expects you to slow down. When it comes to maintaining strength, energy, and vitality after 50, the conversation often circles around exercise routines, supplements, or even medical treatments. Yet, one of the most overlooked pieces of the puzzle sits quietly in the kitchen: the simple choice of fruit. For many, fruit is just a sweet snack, a source of quick energy or fiber. But beneath the surface, it carries a wealth of compounds that can either elevate hormone health or quietly undermine it. Testosterone, the hormone that shapes muscle tone, bone density, mood, and motivation, doesn't decline in isolation. It is deeply influenced by the nutrients and signals the body receives from food. And fruit, often underestimated, plays a much larger role in balancing these signals than most people realize. The body is an intricate system where every process relies on the right building blocks. To produce testosterone, cholesterol is converted into steroid hormones through a series of enzymatic reactions. These reactions don't just happen on their own. They require cofactors like zinc, magnesium, vitamin C, and antioxidants that keep cells functioning smoothly. Certain fruits deliver these nutrients in abundance, creating an environment where the body can maintain stronger hormone levels even in the face of aging. For example, fruits rich in vitamin C lower cortisol, the stress hormone that directly competes with testosterone, freeing the body to use its resources for anabolic processes rather than breaking them down. Others provide polyphenols and flavonoids that reduce oxidative damage to the testes, protecting the very cells that produce testosterone. At the same time, not all fruits are created equal. While some act as natural allies to testosterone, others disrupt the balance by spiking blood sugar, encouraging fat storage, or even containing compounds that mimic estrogen in the body. That is why identifying the right fruits becomes so important. It isn't just about eating more fruit. It's about choosing strategically, understanding which ones support the body's hormonal architecture, and which ones chip away at it slowly, almost invisibly. After all, a diet loaded with fruit juices, Dried fruits or overly sweet options may seem healthy on the surface, but can create the very conditions that lower testosterone, increased belly fat, higher insulin resistance, and inflammation. When you step back and look at the connection, it becomes clear that fruit functions almost like a switchboard operator for hormones. The right ones enhance the signal, making testosterone production smoother and more efficient, while the wrong ones scramble the message, leaving the body struggling to maintain balance. What makes this fascinating is how quickly these choices add up. A man who begins including the right fruits daily, those high in antioxidants, potassium, and essential vitamins, will notice differences in energy, mood, and even recovery within weeks. In contrast, one who continues loading up on sugar, heavy fruits, or juices may find himself feeling more sluggish, gaining abdominal fat, and dealing with the slow erosion of strength over time. The beauty of fruit is in its accessibility. Unlike supplements or treatments that can feel foreign to the body, fruit delivers its benefits wrapped in nature's original package. Fiber, water, and phytochemicals working together in harmony. Fiber slows down sugar absorption, preventing blood sugar spikes that sabotage hormone balance. Hydration from water-rich fruit supports kidney function and metabolic health, both essential for maintaining energy. The colors themselves, reds, purples, oranges, are signals of unique compounds like anthocyanins and carotenoids that directly combat inflammation and oxidative stress, two major enemies of testosterone. When viewed through this lens, fruit becomes more than just food. It becomes a form of medicine, subtle yet powerful. It's also important to recognize the psychological side of food choices. After 50, habits are deeply ingrained, and changing them can feel daunting. Yet, fruit offers a simple entry point. Swapping a sugar-heavy snack for berries, choosing citrus instead of soda, or reaching for pomegranate instead of processed sweets are small steps that don't feel restrictive. These changes gradually shift the internal environment toward one that supports testosterone rather than drains it. And because fruit is naturally sweet, it satisfies cravings while delivering nutrients that enhance rather than harm hormone production. That makes it a sustainable strategy, one that doesn't rely on willpower alone, but works with the body's natural preferences. The deeper truth is that fruit connects directly to the body's most fundamental processes. It influences blood sugar control, inflammation, oxidative stress, hydration, and nutrient availability, all of which tie back to hormone health. Ignoring its role is like ignoring the foundation of a house while trying to decorate the walls. Yes, exercise and lifestyle matter, but without the right internal environment, testosterone production cannot thrive. Fruit has the power to either strengthen that foundation or weaken it. And the choice comes down to knowledge. Knowing which fruits to embrace and which to limit is the difference between supporting vitality and unknowingly contributing to decline. What makes this perspective so powerful is its simplicity. There is no need for complicated regimens or drastic measures, just the mindful selection of everyday foods that have been available all along. By understanding that fruit is not neutral, that it can either be a friend or a foe to testosterone, you gain a tool that is both natural and effective. Over time, this awareness transforms not just hormone levels, but also the way you approach eating in general, creating a lifestyle that supports strength, clarity, and resilience long into the later decades of life. Not every fruit works in harmony with the body's natural rhythm, and this is where awareness becomes critical. Some fruits, despite being marketed as healthy, contain properties that quietly work against testosterone. After 50, when levels are already naturally declining, these hidden saboteurs can accelerate the process, creating an internal environment that makes it even harder to preserve strength, energy, and vitality. The danger lies in how subtle their effects are. They don't cause an immediate crash, but slowly chip away at hormone balance, leaving men feeling more fatigued, storing more fat around the belly, and struggling with motivation without realizing why. Understanding which fruits fall into this category allows smarter choices and ensures that every bite supports longevity rather than undermining it. One of the first culprits is processed fruit juice. Stripped of fiber and concentrated with sugar, it behaves very differently from whole fruit. A glass of juice can contain as much sugar as a soda, spiking blood, glucose, and insulin levels. When insulin rises repeatedly, the body becomes less sensitive to it, creating a state of insulin resistance. This not only increases fat storage, particularly in the abdominal area, but also suppresses testosterone production. Belly fat itself becomes an active tissue producing aromatase, the enzyme that converts testosterone into estrogen over time. The innocent habit of drinking juice instead of eating whole fruit creates a hormonal shift that drains energy and accelerates decline. Another problematic category is dried fruits. On the surface, they appear wholesome, but when fruit is dehydrated, its sugars are concentrated and portion control becomes difficult. A handful of dried apricots or raisins delivers a sugar surge that the body interprets as a stressor. Blood sugar spikes followed by rapid crashes create hormonal chaos, increasing cortisol levels, which compete directly with testosterone. Dried fruits often also contain added preservatives like sulfites, which contribute to oxidative stress, placing an even heavier burden on the system. While they may seem convenient, dried fruits encourage the very imbalances that make testosterone harder to maintain. Grapes, particularly red and green seedless varieties, also deserve attention. While grapes do contain antioxidants like resveratrol, they are also naturally high in glucose and fructose. Consuming them in large amounts contributes to elevated blood sugar levels and increased fat storage. The bigger concern, however, lies in pesticides commonly found on conventionally grown grapes. These residues can act as endocrine disruptors, interfering with the body's ability to regulate hormones properly. When the endocrine system is disrupted, testosterone production becomes inconsistent, and over time, even small exposures accumulate into measurable effects. Grapes, unless chosen carefully and eaten in moderation, can quietly erode the balance men work hard to protect. Soy-based fruits like papaya fall into another category of concern. While papaya is rich in vitamins and antioxidants, it also contains phytoestrogens, plant compounds that mimic estrogen in the body. When eaten frequently in large amounts, these compounds can tip the balance away from testosterone, leading to lowered libido, increased fat storage, and decreased muscle tone. For men over 50, when testosterone is already lower, the last thing the body needs is an external source of estrogen, like compounds reinforcing that decline. This doesn't mean papaya is always harmful, but it does mean that awareness and moderation are essential. Even fruits like bananas, often considered universally healthy, can create challenges when eaten excessively. Their high glycemic load contributes to repeated insulin spikes if consumed in large amounts, especially without balancing protein or fat. Over time, this undermines hormonal stability. Bananas also contain serotonin precursors, which, while beneficial in moderation, may in excess create feelings of lethargy rather than energy. Subtle shifts like these matter when the goal is sustaining vitality after 50. The pattern is clear. It is not about demonizing fruit altogether, but recognizing that not every fruit works in favor of testosterone. The hidden danger lies in sugar content, estrogen-like compounds, and chemical residues that disrupt the endocrine system. These forces combine to push testosterone down while allowing other hormones like cortisol and estrogen to rise. The results are seen in slower metabolism, greater fat accumulation, mood instability, and reduced strength. For men who already face the natural curve of declining testosterone, these fruits act like weights, pulling the curve even lower. The good news is that once these fruits are identified, change becomes simple. Instead of reaching for juice, choose whole fruits with fiber intact. Swap dried fruits for fresh water-rich options that hydrate and regulate blood sugar more effectively. Wash or choose organic grapes to minimize exposure to pesticides. And be mindful of portion sizes with fruits like papaya or bananas. By cutting down on the testosterone killers, you create space for the boosters to work more effectively. It's about creating balance, ensuring that every bite contributes to energy and vitality instead of silently draining it. This awareness transforms the way fruit is viewed. It's no longer about assuming all fruit is equally beneficial. It's about understanding the chemistry of how each one interacts with the body's hormonal system. For men over 50, where every percentage point of testosterone matters, these small distinctions add up to massive differences in how they feel day to day. Avoiding the wrong fruits is as important as embracing the right ones. It's this balance that determines whether testosterone continues to slip downward or whether it stabilizes in a way that preserves strength, focus, and drive well into later years. There are certain fruits that don't just nourish the body. They actively feed the very systems that sustain vitality, strength, and resilience. After the age of 50, when testosterone begins its gradual decline, these fruits act almost like reinforcements supporting the body's ability to keep producing this essential hormone despite the natural aging process. They provide key nutrients, protective compounds, and unique phytochemicals that reduce the obstacles testosterone faces, from oxidative stress to inflammation to hormonal imbalances. Understanding which fruits belong in this category can be life-changing because they are not just snacks. They are tools that help preserve energy, sharpen focus, and maintain the drive that often feels harder to hold on to with each passing decade. One of the most powerful examples is pomegranate. For centuries, it has been revered as a symbol of vitality, and modern science has uncovered why. Pomegranate is loaded with antioxidants that shield the body's cells from oxidative stress, a process that damages the Leydig cells in the testes where testosterone is produced. By protecting these cells, pomegranate creates an environment where hormone production can continue with greater efficiency. Beyond that, studies have shown pomegranate juice can improve blood flow, a factor closely tied to both cardiovascular health and performance. Better circulation means nutrients and oxygen reach every cell more effectively, supporting energy levels and stamina. For someone over 50, this dual action, protection and circulation, makes pomegranate an invaluable ally for sustaining testosterone. Equally powerful are berries, blueberries, strawberries, raspberries, and blackberries. Small but potent, they deliver anthocyanins and flavonoids that fight inflammation and reduce damage from free radicals. Since chronic inflammation is a major disruptor of hormone balance, berries act like a natural shield, preserving the delicate hormonal pathways that the body relies on. Their high fiber content also helps regulate blood sugar, preventing the spikes and crashes that often lead to insulin resistance. This is critical because high insulin levels can suppress testosterone production. While steady blood sugar supports hormonal stability, berries don't just taste good, they quietly stabilize the entire system, making them an everyday fruit that pays long-term dividends. Another standout is avocado. Though technically a fruit, it offers a nutrient profile unlike most others. Rich in healthy monounsaturated fats, avocados provide the raw material cholesterol needed to synthesize testosterone. Without adequate healthy fats, the body struggles to produce hormones at optimal levels. Avocados also contain vitamin E, potassium, and magnesium minerals and antioxidants that directly support endocrine health. Beyond their nutrient profile, they help maintain heart health and lower inflammation, ensuring that testosterone is not being drained by underlying issues. For men looking to sustain strength and energy, avocados become more than a trendy food. They serve as foundational support for the body's hormone machinery. Citrus fruits such as oranges, grapefruits, and lemons also deserve a place on this list. Packed with vitamin C, they help lower cortisol levels. Cortisol, the body's primary stress hormone, directly interferes with testosterone production as both hormones compete for the same building blocks. By reducing cortisol, citrus fruits free up the body to produce more testosterone naturally. Vitamin C also supports collagen formation, helping with tissue repair, joint health, and overall recovery, which becomes increasingly important after 50. The bright, refreshing nature of citrus is more than sensory. It directly lifts the internal balance in favor of strength and vitality. Each of these fruits works in a unique way, but together they form a powerful toolkit. They don't just act on testosterone directly, they create an internal environment where testosterone can thrive. They lower stress hormones, fight oxidative damage, stabilize blood sugar, and provide the raw materials needed for hormone synthesis. For someone over 50, these are not small advantages. They are the difference between feeling depleted and feeling energized, between passively accepting decline and actively pushing back against it. The beauty lies in their accessibility. No prescriptions, no complicated regimens, just simple natural foods that can be added into daily life with ease. It's also worth considering how these fruits fit into a broader pattern. Eating them consistently, not just occasionally, allows their compounds to accumulate and create long-term benefits. Pomegranate juice a few times a week, a handful of berries each morning, avocado in a salad, and citrus as a refreshing snack or drink are simple steps that layer together into meaningful change. The body doesn't transform overnight, but it responds steadily to the signals it receives. And these fruits send signals of healing, balance, and renewal. The lesson here is clear. Testosterone doesn't decline in isolation, and it doesn't have to decline without resistance. Fruits like pomegranate, berries, avocado, and citrus are nature's way of keeping the body strong from within. They do not replace discipline, sleep, or exercise, but they amplify the results of those habits, ensuring the effort put into health is not wasted. With each serving, they add resilience to the system, making it possible to hold on to energy, strength, and vitality well beyond what most expect after 50. Choosing these fruits is not just about diet. It's about a mindset of preservation, about recognizing that age is not only a number, but also a reflection of the choices made